Richard Glossip has said that he wants the world to know that he is innocent, and he told us that he is now hoping to starve himself to death before going to the death chamber.
I just think it's best for me this way. I'm not saying it's the easiest way to go, and I'm not saying it's the smartest way to go, but, you know, it beats just laying around and just waiting for them to do it. I would prefer to do it myself.
Richard Glossip is on day 11 of no food, but he is taking fluids.
I don't want to go, you know, I don't want to go out for something I didn't do. You know what I mean? I don't want to be executed for a crime I didn't commit. If I'd done it, I would lay down here and take my punishment. But I didn't, so I'm not going to.
Glossip says he just signed a living will and an order he's hoping will prevent the Department of Corrections from force-feeding him to keep him alive.
That should scare people. That's a pretty sadistic way to look at things.
The DOC says Glossip's health is not to the point of needing to be force-fed, but the new execution procedures mean he's already in the maximum security cell with a light that stays on 24 hours until he is moved to the death chamber.
To me, personally, it's torture up until your execution, or it's a way to make you want to see your execution quicker.
Glossip maintains his innocence and says he's still hoping the actual murderer, whose testimony tied him to the plot, will hold true to his promise to recant. But if that doesn't happen, he hopes his death will come at his own hands and not the state's. It is possible to survive a few weeks without food, but only a few days without water or other fluids. Now, right now, there's nothing stopping to stop the execution, and the governor's office says there are no plans to issue a stay, and the Pardon and Parole Board has already denied clemency.
Only on Fox this evening, the next man scheduled to die is getting some high-profile support in his fight to avoid the death penalty. Fox 25's Phil Cross spoke with a woman whose mission is to end capital punishment, and she'll be joining Richard Glossip as he prepares to die. Phil?
Wendy, you may not know her name, but her story inspired the motion picture Dead Man Walking. Now, Sister Helen Prejean says she is coming to Oklahoma to be the spiritual advisor for the only man on Oklahoma's death row who did not actually commit a murder.
I didn't commit this crime.
At first, it was a hunger strike that Richard Glossip said was intended to take his own life before the state could execute him. He ended that at the urging of his family and new spiritual advisor, Sister Helen Prejean.
I've reached a point when people say they're innocent, I tend to believe them more than disbelieve them because there have been so many mistakes made.
Sister Helen was portrayed by Susan Sarandon in the movie Dead Man Walking. The movie compiled the events Sister Helen encountered as she advocated against the death penalty. Richard Glossip wrote her months ago asking for her help.
It swooped into my soul and into my life. And so, yes, I'm going to fight for him in every way I can to get the truth out.
Sister Helen is opposed to the death penalty in any case, but says Glossip's case and Oklahoma's death row controversies make this situation unique among others she has encountered.
We have such a broken system. It's on this this one thread of this one man's word, we're sending a man to his death.
Glossip was convicted of planning the murder of Barry Van Treese, something he has always denied. Sister Helen says in the original confession, the actual murderer took sole credit for the crime. He's serving life in prison after changing his story to say Glossip talked him into the murder. Previous prosecutors and family members successfully argued against any clemency for Glossip. Van Treese's brother wrote to the Pardon and Parole Board last October, "I will speak for my brother. It hurts like hell to have your head bashed in with a baseball bat. Do not feel sorry for the bastard that took my life." Glossip's execution is scheduled for January 29th. If it goes on, Sister Helen says she will be there to witness it, which will be her first execution to witness in more than a decade.
Fox 25's Phil Cross was the only Oklahoma television reporter in the court today as justices asked tough questions about the state's death penalty procedures. This is only on Fox Tonight.
It was a heated debate today at the Supreme Court as both sides of this issue were grilled by Supreme Court justices, not only about the use of midazolam, but also about other details regarding the death penalty.
I think that's what it is. I think the petitioners are fundamentally attacking the death penalty more so than the use of midazolam in the execution process.
Attorney General Scott Pruitt spoke to the media after the hearing, but it was his Solicitor General that delivered the arguments before the Supreme Court. And he was once scolded by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who said she found so many errors and omissions in his legal briefs that she wouldn't believe anything he said or read in court without reviewing it herself.
I believe that we have put on a case before the Supreme Court today that will establish midazolam as a constitutional means of using lethal injection.
As problematic executions have demonstrated, midazolam cannot reliably produce a constitutional execution.
But some justices disagreed, saying this case is an attack on the death penalty itself. And like Justice Samuel Alito argued, the court's ruling could make future lethal injections impossible by drying up the supply of effective drugs. In fact, Fox 25 has learned the makers of midazolam sent states, including Oklahoma, request to get their drugs back and for states not to use them outside the therapeutic purpose. Has the maker of midazolam asked for its drugs back from the state of Oklahoma? They sent out letters.
We have access to the drug called midazolam at this time.
But did the state receive a letter from the makers of midazolam asking for its recall?
We have access to midazolam now and can be used in the execution process.
Now, late this afternoon, the Attorney General's office sent me a copy of that letter we were asking about. It did request that the state return the supply of midazolam to the manufacturer. The Attorney General's office says that letter was just the result of anti-death penalty advocates putting pressure on drug manufacturers. Reporting at the United States Supreme Court, Phil Cross, Fox 20. Fox 25 has been working to investigate the claims of Richard Glossip supporters that information available now was not given to the first two juries. We were able to contact some of those jury members, and we're protecting the identity of one who asked us to share a statement.
Governor Fallin has no reason to second guess, again, either the jurors or the courts, and so the execution will go forward.
The governor's office has repeatedly said they are supporting the jurors who decided Richard Glossip's fate. The office has also said they are upholding the will of 24 jurors in 2 separate trials, despite that first trial being declared unconstitutional. Now, one of the original jurors is speaking out. In a statement to Fox 25, the juror writes, based on the evidence presented at that trial, they would reach the same verdict, and that they reached that decision based on careful consideration of the evidence. However, after learning of the new evidence in the form of police reports and videotaped confessions, that juror is upset by what the jury never heard. Quote, if the defense would have presented me the case that they are presenting now in the original trial, I would not have given a guilty verdict. The juror goes on to say, I think that now there is enough question/evidence out there that there may be another story than what we, the jurors, were given. The juror adds, I feel that this situation needs to be looked at and at the very least given a 60-day stay to make for certain that all the stones are unturned and everything is looked at with a fine-tooth comb. The juror issued a plea that their opinion be taken into consideration regarding the impending execution. Fox 25 reached out to the governor's office for a comment a day after that office made claims they were supporting all of the 24 jurors. But now the office says that that first trial was unfair and they will not be considering any opinions of the first jurors. Spokesman Alex Wentz emailed Fox 25 saying this juror served in Glossip's first trial, which was thrown out by a court. The fact that Glossip had one conviction overturned and was given a second trial illustrates that our justice system does respond to mistakes and has treated Glossip fairly. Governor Fallin believes in our justice system and is committed to upholding the law. Glossip supporters say they are hopeful the governor's office changes direction and takes this juror's plea into consideration. We've put that full statement on our website. Just go to okcfox.com. Phil Cross, Fox 25 News.
It does give me peace knowing that everybody knows the truth now. They knew that, Justice Sneed's been lying all along, and that's all I wanted. That's all I can ask for is for that. If the worst has to happen, then that's all I can ask for is that people know that I was innocent.
Richard Glossip says he was both upset and relieved when he found out a former inmate signed a sworn statement saying Justin Sneed bragged about lying to put him on death row. But his anger faded, as it has over the last nearly 20 years.
I didn't want to live all these years being angry at everybody, just becoming a bitter person.
Glossip denies having ever paid or recruited Sneed to murder Barry Van Treese. Did you want Barry Van Treese dead in 1997?
Never.
But he does have regrets about the day he learned Van Treese was dead.
I do have regrets that very morning when Justin said what he said, I should have called the police immediately. I didn't because I didn't believe it. And, you know, unfortunately, there's always regrets in situations like this. You wish you could go back and change the things that happened.
I want a hearing. I want to bring in our witnesses. I do. I want to bring them in, and I want to sit them on a witness stand, and I want to go ahead and subject them to cross-examination. I'm going to bet on my witnesses because they're great witnesses.
Glossip's attorneys say they will still fight until the last minute and believe the evidence they've uncovered does meet the burden required by the court. Still,
we've shown the people of Oklahoma and of the United States that this man is innocent before he's to be executed. If despite that they still kill him, I don't know what that says about this death penalty.
For Glossip, he has seen himself go from a condemned prisoner no one knew about to being an international headline.
I don't want to die a martyr. Nobody really does. I mean, in this situation. But I don't want my death to be, to not, you know, to me. I want my death to be able to make a difference. And if it comes to that, then I hope that people can see now how broken this system really is.
Supporters of his execution say he got justice in 2 trials, though Fox 25's multiple investigations have revealed not only one juror in one trial who says the new evidence would change their verdict, but also jurors who said they relied on testimony our investigation revealed as questionable at best, and even the fact that potentially crucial evidence was destroyed by police before Glossip's first appeal was even decided. In the end, it has come down to one final plea before the court, and Glossip's attorneys say they will still trust in justice. Phil Cross, Fox 25 News.
Our big story at 5, Richard Glossip's execution has been delayed. The Oklahoma Criminal Court of Appeals stopping today's execution, granting a stay for 2 weeks so they can look at new evidence presented by Glossip's lawyers. We have team coverage for you this evening from the state prison in McAllister to right here in the metro.
Fox 25's Phil Cross and Keaton Fox were in place for Glossip's scheduled execution when the news broke. We're going to start with Phil, though, because he's been following this story since last year. He joins us now live in McAllister with more. Phil.
Good evening, Mike and Wendy. We are here in McAllister, where today's issue with the court wasn't so much a ruling as it was a move of caution by the justices. Even supporters of Glossip's execution told us that it was a prudent move by the justices to allow them more time to carefully consider all the new evidence that's been presented.
The Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals has issued a stay for Richard Eugene Glossip.
Just before addressing the media, Department of Corrections Director Robert Patton delivered the news to Richard Glossip's attorneys.
How do you like that? 2 weeks, but I'll take it.
To say they're happy is an understatement. Don Knight and Kathleen Lord were the only 2 of Glossip's team of supporters and attorneys who were with him during what was supposed to be his final hours.
We said there's been a stay, and he became ecstatic. He said yes, and he pounded on the window. He was just so happy. So he said thank you. He said thank you, thank you, thank you so many times to everybody, really.
Knight says the court's ruling confirms their evidence is not easily dismissed. He believes it would be enough to win a trial, and Glossip's attorneys hope it is enough to meet the high bar required for a hearing before the Court of Criminal Appeals.
We knew we would have one chance, and that's all, just one chance to do this. We wanted to give them as much as we possibly could. It took that long to do it.
Knight says the late filing was not a delay tactic, pointing to the fact that more evidence is still coming in, including information that had previously been withheld from Glossip's defenders until a Fox 25 investigation aired on the eve of his execution.
We just found out after the filing that there was more evidence destroyed by the police department. One item is a white box with papers. That's all we know. And they destroyed it in 1999. You know, before he'd even had an appeal.
This is not some delaying tactic. This is not some PR campaign. We've been doing the really hard work that you have to do in order to get this case done.
Now, the Court of Criminal Appeals has not set any hearing in the state or made any statement about the merits of the new evidence presented. But Glossip's attorneys say they plan to supplement what they already filed with new evidence as it comes in, especially in light of what Fox 25 has recently uncovered. Reporting live in McAllister, Phil Cross, Fox 25 News.